So, welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show. It is my pleasure to be back here today. And today we are going to India and we are going to have an amazing time. I can tell you, I'm really excited and I hope you're all ready to have an hour of greatness. I think it's going to be one. So my name is Mirai Tulekima. You know me as the Greatness Engineer, and this show is brought to you by the Mirai Tulekima Global Leadership Organization. So you might ask me, who is my guest? I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and she'll get the opportunity to continue, to let us know who she is. So just to give you a little bit of background, my guest today is Dr. Kesan. She is the founder and the CEO of Kidz, Yes, so founder and CEO of the startup Space Kidz India, which is pioneering in design, fabrication, and launch of small satellites and spacecraft and ground systems. So our goal is really to provide economical and sustainable access to space to cater the needs of education, research, and industry. So she will tell you more as we go along. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna leave her the opportunity to just introduce herself, let us know who she is. But she's done some amazing thing. You probably heard a few months ago about India launching satellites and women being involved. She was one of those women. So sit tight, have your pen and paper because there's gonna be a lot shared. And really, we're gonna talk about how to be your best, be your best at anything that you really want to. So let's start. Let's bring Dr. Kisan with us today and have this amazing conversation with her. So don't get anywhere. We're gonna start. Another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Mirai Tulekima Global Leadership Organization.
Feel is important is if you just look at the word compassion, when it's behavior, it's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily actions.
Get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
Don't deprive the world of your greatness. Please. Don't do that anymore. Dare to excel, dare to be sexy, dare to be you, dare to be the best version of yourself. Impact yourself positively, and from there impact others. And you are not alone.
So
beautiful.
welcome, Dr. Kesan. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. It is my pleasure to host you today, and I've introduced you, but I think there's much more that you can say. So just let us know who you are and anything that we should know about you before we start this conversation today.
I would say Vanakkam. This is the way of greeting from south of India. So thank you so much, Merle, for having me here on your show. And I got to see a fantastic AV. Oh my God, what kind of diverse people you've had in your show. Amazing, amazing. I think I'm privileged and honored to be in your show. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
Um,
you.
and to say about me, well, this is Dr. Kason, and I think we can roll into a conversation before I just keep talking entirely about myself and giving a big, huge history about me. It's nice
Uh,
to interact, I feel.
it's nice to interact, and so I think the key thing, because I'm so fascinated by what you do, and one of the things that I really want to know, how do you get involved into all of this, because this is fantastic stuff. And I just want, actually, since you don't want to introduce yourself, I have a video that I've made just to highlight, the thing that you've done, and maybe I can start with that, and then you can tell me how, was this journey, how did you get involved into all of this. So sit
Great.
tight, and let me just do put that video here.
Wow. Honor.
There is so much into all of this, so
You
just start
managed to click
somewhere,
so many
and
pictures. That's
just
amazing. Great homework. Great homework.
so how did you get involved into space? I mean, are you, what is your background? Did you know, is it something that you really, was aspiring to? What was the breakthrough? What led you to really being involved in the space industry, and really start to empower kids and the young generation, to get, involved?
Well, Meryl, I should say I'm fascinated by the moon.
Hmm.
And anytime and every time I have something to say, I go up to the moon and I love interacting or rather talking to the moon because
Hmm.
moon will not respond to you. So I think this one-way ticket is always better so that you pour in everything to the moon and you have somebody to listen to and not
Hmm.
judgmental. So it's
Hmm.
interesting that you just pour everything to her and leave it. So, this I should say is pure destiny. I never ever thought I was going to get into the space industry because as a child, I thought I was getting into the medical school just like any Indian teenage girl. I
Hmm.
also dreamt of becoming a doctor, but a little change in that. I thought I was going to become an armed forces medical doctor. I was going to get into the armed forces. Being from the NCC, the National Cadet Corps, what we call here in India, it's
Hmm.
a student armed forces, I should say. In if you have to understand it easily, I was part of it, and I was leading that contingent. And as a young girl, I've done paratrooping. If you know what is paratrooping, jumping from the aircraft
Hmm.
and with the parachute. And I was an all India silver medalist in rifle
Hmm.
shooting, and a parade commander who gives parade and leads the parade. I was the first girl
cadet to hold a sword and march a parade. Apart from
Mm.
that, I was an avid sportsman. I played about 10 national basketball, and
Wow.
uh, and I was a state athlete. So it was, kind of completely with sports and, the armed forces training and everything. So in one such program where I led the contingent, first ever time a girl leading with holding a sword, that event, we had an army chief coming as a chief guest. He was pretty impressed by my activities and my accolades and everything. He called for my father and he said, I'm pretty impressed with your daughter. I think she has to get into the armed forces. We are looking at such girls getting into the armed forces of our country. My dad was extremely thrilled. But, Destiny played a small tweak there. He pulled out my wedding card and handed it over to him.
Mm.
So the same evening, you won't believe, the same evening, a place called Hyderabad that I was living in. From there, we moved to Chennai, and that's where I got married within a week. So,
Wow. Wow.
so from sword, holding a sword, I straight away jumped into a spatula, the Indian way of making donuts, and
Mhm, mhm,
we
mhm.
call
That's
it
quite a
breakfast
change.
in work. So life was surrounded with all these things. It was beautiful. I was a beautiful wife. The typical South Indian here that we have.
Hmm.
Once you're married, you are bound to your house, and you take care of your in-laws, your child, your husband. So it's predominantly family.
Hmm.
So that was on, but there was something within me. There was a spark that was within me that, I always wanted to do something beyond my name, Mrs. Srimathy. I wanted to do something beyond the tag because I felt that, the purpose of each individual's birth is different,
Hmm.
and each one is tied to another by a specific relationship that is for emotional support, standing by each other. It's more friendship. So, beyond that, there is something that each individual is bound to give back to the society, give back to what we are taking in. Even the air that we breathe, I think we have to give back to do something for that. So that's where my mind was constantly working as to what I was going to be doing and the purpose of my birth. So for 16 years, this was on. And, I then joined. I said I probably should do my master's, and this doctorate was a little thing in my mind always. I wanted to be a doctor. So it
Hmm.
was always in my mind that I had to do a doctorate, PhD. So I did my master's. Of course, not many people at home knew about it. It was fun without anybody's knowledge to do all this. Then a friend of mine came over from Mumbai, and we were we were NCC mates, and she said, "What are you doing, Miss Kesan? You had so many aspirations and everything." I said, "Yes, I did, but like a typical Indian girl, I think I'm succumbed to the practical understanding of life that probably when my time comes, I have to move out. Until then, I have to just keep thinking." So she said,
Hmm.
"I think there is nothing called a specific time. This is your time. Get on." I think that's the reason we've met after 16 years, because
Wow.
no email, no cell phones, nothing during that era. So so accidentally meeting your good friend, and she being in a plush position. She was an editor in chief of a brilliant magazine, top class magazine in India. So I was like, oh, she's so gorgeous. She's
Hmm.
doing such wonders. And then she said, you can do. So probably I don't know what you're destined for, but I will put you through a conference in Miami. Go check it out. See what you can. And that's my first step out of home after 16 years, to wear a blazer, to interact in English, to communicate in English,
Hmm.
because it's vernacular language here, the place that I live in. And everything was like new, so new to me. I did travel many parts of the world. But yet, professionally, when you step in for the first time after your graduation for about 16 years gap, I think that's something very huge. And the first step was really scary one side, but exciting on the other side that, yes, I am going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Miami, and that's where I got to see the booth of NASA. I got to interact with NASA, and to cut the story short, too many things in between, too many challenges. I wouldn't want to, share all that because that's going to be boring. Because every woman undergoes challenges. Who on
Mm-hmm.
earth doesn't undergo? So it's how you come out of that and how good you're able to do that, and how you can convert those challenges into opportunities. So that's what I think God gave me that power to do that, and I was able to do that. And Space Kids India was born. I started taking children to NASA, ESA, and GCTC for scientific experiential learning. And I thought that was not enough. There should be
Mm-hmm.
something more to that. Nothing ends there. So, wanted to build satellites. It's become a
Whoa.
huge dream for me after touching the rockets and satellites in NASA and Russia and all. I started getting excited. I wanted to build one. So that one is become 26 now.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. 26. Can you imagine?
The only Indian organization to have built 26 space missions with a woman founder who is not an engineer.
Whoa. And that's really the inspiring part. You are not an engineer, but you've been able to build, satellites, which is, so tell me how you did it, because really I am an engineer, so that's why I'm like, how did she do it?
That's the reason when you said the greatness engineering, I was a little
I,
skeptical. I'm
I
not an
was
engineer, so how are you
I'm
going to?
playing I'm playing with the word, but you also are an engineer. I'm a formal engineer, but you are an engineer because you can engineer greatness, and you've actually shown it by creating this organization and building those 20 satellites. So, which means that you also an engineer, even if you're saying you're not one.
This is the world's lightest and first ever 3D printed satellite, the Kalam
Wow.
satellite.
Mm-hmm.
And this turned our lives, I should say. This
Mm-hmm.
totally changed our lives. I wanted to build satellites, and I did not want to go with professionals. I thought, India is the most youthful country, and there are so many young people, and it's every individual's responsibility to do something for the youth of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I am not doing something at the Siachen, but I am able to do something for the future generation. That gave me immense satisfaction. So this industry was always kept niche, and so I thought maybe I should disrupt this, and that's what God wanted me to do something like this for this future generation. So when we built this, the entire world took a note of us.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, when I went to get permissions, there was no precedences for
Mm-hmm.
even launching a high altitude balloon. There was no precedences, so I had to struggle hard to get permissions to make people understand the whole core and concept.
Mm-hmm.
So from there on, moving to do this, and when we did this, and when NASA published this, the entire world took a note of us. And then people thought, oh, it's not only people sitting there in NASA, ISRO, or ESA. There
Mm-hmm.
is a private organization that can also build such satellites if given an opportunity. In fact, this is a people would question, this is a suborbital launch, so how would you call it a satellite?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in 2015, when we started, and when we did this in 2017, a payload can be called, a femto payload can be called a satellite, because it goes into the space.
Mm-hmm.
It is there in the space environment for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then it comes down. So it did face space. It was
Hmm.
there in space. And I think as young people, this is something huge.
That's
And
fantastic.
it's a
Huge.
milestone. It's
Yes.
a milestone. So, you call it a payload, you call it a satellite, whatever. I've ignited the spark. That's
Hmm.
important. That's important.
That's the most important, actually. So whatever you call it, that's the most important. Where did it go? Did it go to space? That's the most important thing. Yeah. So that's no, amazing and inspiring, inspiring story. And just wanted to know, how do you, obviously, you have, organization involved, but how do you reach out? Do you have specific, specific criterias, or how does,
A good
practically?
question, Miriam. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
get you. I did get your point. See,
Hmm.
initially, what I did was I was so crazy. Almost a week, I did not sleep. I was like, I want a team. I want a team. How am I going to put this team together? Where am I going to
Hmm.
get this team? This, I was breaking my head. Then I thought probably the Indian way of handpicking students is a
Hmm.
metric where you conduct a competition, a challenge, and probably you can handpick children from there. So
Hmm.
I announced this a scientific challenge, a science challenge for high school students called the Young Scientist India, and next month we will be celebrating the 10th year. A decade is passed, since we
Hmm.
started.
Wow.
So that's where I announced, and we had children participating in various streams. In the aerospace, I had a couple of children who were similarly crazy like me, but they were in high school, they were in ninth grade, eighth grade. They were not able to build satellites like this, but they built satellites in paper mash. Can you believe it? And
Wow.
rural children,
Wow. Bravo.
rural children. The first child who came to me was Rafat Shahrukh, who comes from a very, very small town where there is not much of internet facility and everything. His father was an engineer, but unfortunately, he passed away when where he was 8 years old. So he
Mm.
did not have a direction too. But his mind, his body, his soul, everything was filled with space.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
could see a mirror image. I could really see my reflection in him. So I handpicked that child. He did not win the competition,
Mhm.
but I handpicked that child. He was my, and today he's the CTO of the company, and he's just creating wonders. So similarly, I had handpicked young Nasai, Gobi, and Clinton, Kirtan, Ilyas. So many of them, all from tier 2, tier 3 that we call here in India. Such background, and humble, very humble background children,
Mhm.
but with immense potential, knowledge to do something great. And
Fantastic.
then handpick them, and whatever I had earned in my scientific experiential learning, travel and everything, I pumped in all the money into this research. And this research started blossoming. I started speaking to people, then subsequently spoke to ISRO, gave a presentation. They were super thrilled to see our success, when the little thing went up in a NASA stereo Orion
Mhm.
rocket. So they said, I think, we are going to be giving students an opportunity to fly in the, fourth stage of our rocket. So probably we'll give you an opportunity, but you should be able to build a payload within 6 days. It
Mhm.
was a huge challenge. 6 days orbital, first time, and with kids.
Wow.
And I think there was divinity everywhere, I should say, even though there is so much of science, there is
Mhm.
divinity parallelly. And with all the challenges, we were able to build, the satellite in 6 days. We did all the testing, the vibration, thermovac, and everything qualified. And on 24th January 2019, our first orbital satellite soared high in a PSLV rocket C-44.
Wow. 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 this is a big challenge, and you rose to the challenge, and that's the that's the important bit. Sometimes you just have to to put those challenge very high and then just go for it. And that's sometimes no fear, no everything, just take the challenge and really do it. That's just amazing. So we're gonna have a break, and then we're gonna continue to really, delve into this amazing journey of yours. And for those who are joining me today, I'm talking to Dr. Srimathy Kesan. She's, all the way from India, and you've probably heard this, inspiring story. She's not an engineer, but she is, making an impact in the space industry. And that's why, when I actually called this show the Greatness Engineering, people thought, oh, it's just for engineer. People called engineer, qualify as engineer. No, we all engineer in a way. And I want you, by bringing, all those guests, I want you to step into your engineering, spirit and engineering, space, so that you can make an impact in the world. So don't go anywhere. We're going to have a break, and I will be back with you later today. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Birai Tilekima Global Leadership Organization.
When I left Disney, I met lots of people who are entrepreneurs and just said, look, I'm starting. What advice do you have for us? And I got some great advice. And there was a few things that were key. First of all, and as you saw in the video there, keep it simple. Be simple about what problems you solve.
But what are you hoping for? That means that there's a future. That means that there's something that you yet still need to be realized and materialized in your life. And if you have lost hope and you're not hoping for something, that means you're lost. So we need to get you back to the place of being able to hope again.
Trust the process. So many times we get stuck and paralyzed from taking the first step and taking action to get out of that transactional to the transformational of our own lives because we're afraid. But trust the process. Take that one little microscopic step. And I tell you that once you do that, that will increase into another step and another step and another step. So that's what I'd like to leave with you today.
My message for today is delay is not denial. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish in life. Do not stop until you get what it is you know God has for you.
So we are back. We are back with Dr. Srimathy Kesan, and we are talking about a journey, but we're focusing on space. So you've experienced gravity. So tell us a little bit more about it, because it must feel really awkward. So how was the experience?
Oh my God, I cannot express it in words because it was such an exciting feel. After entering the space industry, even as a small child, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma of India, the only Indian cosmonaut, when he went up in space, he had a conversation with our then Prime Minister. And when she asked him, how did India look like? He said, Sare Jahan se acha. And I think I was in my grade 4 or 5. And, when we watched the television, it was such an extremely moment of pride. And, so many stories we weaved when we went back to school then. And it was there probably in my soul that, I wanted to do something. And, being a paratrooper and all that. I always was kind of adventurous, and but you know, it is very difficult to be an astronaut now. I'm not too sure if the you know, if our country is ever going to give us an opportunity to be a cosmonaut at this age. So age plays a big factor here, and you know, and being a woman is another thing. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to get. So I got this opportunity to fly in zero gravity, and that too, it was a celebrity flight. So I just seized this opportunity. It was absolutely God sent, I should say, you know, to be alongside Apollo moonwalker Charles Duke, and you know, the first engineer in NASA, Poppy Notcutt, and
Mm.
Richard Garriott. Oh my God, it was like a dream flight,
Dream
I
come
should say.
true.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was so excited, and I said, being the first woman from my country to, you know, experience this zero gravity flight, I should flaunt off the Indian flag. So I carried with me my Indian flag, which is so precious to me, and I really flaunted off. Yeah, that's the picture. Yes, thank you. I was so excited and, you know, so happy. I didn't want to come back from that, but you have to. That's reality. You face reality.
And
But that's
unfortunately,
actually
you come to go. You have to come back to reality, and that's the
yes.
hard truth. And so, anyway, so I mean, obviously, you mentioned that it's not actually easy for women, to really, play a role in the space industry. So, what are the challenge? I mean, what are the key challenges that you had, and how did you manage to go around those obstacles, challenges that you had to face?
Miral, when I started, it was way too early when, you know, the space industry was very, very naive. You know, it was very raw. We just had the Indian Space Research Organization, and that was the governmental organization. And, you know, they also launched satellites, which was beneficial for the mankind, for the country. It was only about one or two a year, so they could not extend the opportunity to a private organization, more so to children. You know, when you spend crores of rupees, you know, it's very difficult. A small thing goes and the entire thing boom. So, you know, they were skeptical. But then, you know, so that is where I started off with high altitude ballooning, and, you know, funding was a huge challenge. I was, you know, running a solopreneur organization. You know, the only person who was doing every role. So, you know, it's pretty difficult because people didn't understand this industry, and they didn't know that, you know, you could make business out of this industry. It was a niche industry. Anything difficult, it meant rocket science. And STEM and woman without an engineering background, oh, she cannot. So everything was a hurdle and a challenge, you know. It was a completely you know, I would say that it is male dominated, because math and physics, people say only men can do, technology men can do. Hi, I'm a commerce graduate, so what am I to do? So, but that's where I thought, if I'm not an engineer, I can create scientists, I can create engineers, and they can do their best bet. And internet was growing, and we were able to take information from internet and validate our information. You know, make 3D printing was coming up. So all these things, I think we were there at a very naive stage, nascent stage, I should say. So that's the reason we didn't have a proper, you know, a startup status where VCs could come and support us and fund us. But now the market is getting matured, you know, so we've got the startup status and everything. So we are trying to spin off into a proper commercial company where, you know, we can go to the moon, to the Mars, you know, with the support of people, if they can handhold us. We've got the technology, we've got space heritage. It's just the funding that, you know, we really need that support. So we are looking at that. And so these are the challenges, and they still persist, but still we are fighting, and still we are able to do. And in that, I should say, you know, getting girls into this. and working with
It's
girls. I'm
important.
sure it
Yeah.
must be your next question. Sorry.
That was my next question, is that how do you
I
bring
feel
more
you.
women? Yes, you know me now. So how do you bring more women into this industry? Because we half of the population and there are so many smart women who are actually ready to serve and to be able to bring value. So how do we bring more women? What's the strategy here?
Uh, this is a very critical question, I would say, because women in STEM, as I mentioned earlier, still people wouldn't accept that women in STEM go hand in hand, in spite of so many women sitting there who worked for the NASA's, the Mars rovers and, everything. And we, our own Indian women here, so many of them have worked for the lunar, the Chandrayaan 1, 2, and 3. But the
Mm-hmm.
only thing is, they are not in the forefront. They always love to be
Exactly.
behind. They love to be behind, and they love to put the man, put the man in the front. I think that needs to change, and more leadership roles need to be taken by women, so that the young girls will have role models to look to, aspire to be one like them.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult that we have hardly handful of role models, and we women need, it's always there that I think it's our DNA that we need somebody to say, hey, you've done a good job, it's okay, this shall pass. I think all these things, I think it's a women's DNA that, we need somebody to do that. Right from
Mm-hmm.
as a child, we've been engineered that way. But all this needs to be broken. Nobody needs to do this. We can do this.
Mm-hmm.
We have the power to change so many things. So I think few of these strong women who've been working in technology for years should come up, should come in the front, take leadership roles, and handhold these girls who need that support. And similarly, that is one thing where we worked with 750 young girls,
Wow.
rural girls from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, if you know the map of India,
Mm-hmm.
from the northernmost tip to the southernmost tip,
Mm-hmm.
from both. So I was, affected by COVID. I was in the ICCU on the ventilator, and I wanted to give a proposal to ISRO. It was the due date, and I was supposed to make a presentation, and I was on the ventilator in the hospital.
And
And
you
I
were
said,
still thinking about the project.
absolutely. And I said, nothing is going to stop me. I'm not going to kick the bucket soon. I am going to come back out. And this project is so close to my heart because every flight, international flight I took, they had a magazine, and every magazine that portrayed India had a little girl with a mud pot on her head, walking miles with water and torn clothes, scorching sun. That really created an impact in me, and I said, I think that it's high time that we do something for this. And I may
Mm-hmm.
not be able to change the entire facade of this, but at least a little, that I could do.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave a proposal to ISRO that I'm going to handpick about 10 girls from each state, from the villages. I know they will not know ABC of space or physics or math. I
Mm-hmm.
myself don't know. That's okay. But
Yeah.
I am going to get my boys, my team, to teach them in the most simplest form, and make them understand the nuances of physics and math and how this entire system works of satellite and rocketry. I want to create these girls as ambassadors who will start, thinking that there is this industry and I can get into this industry equal to a man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's where it started, and the directors appreciated, the chairman appreciated the whole concept. It went to the prime minister's office, and he was also very impressed by this whole idea. And grace of God, everything went well. Was able to handpick these 750 girls in their local vernacular language. We were able
Wow.
to break down these, the equations of what a sensor means, what a component means, how these sensors work when they are put together, on a PCB board, how they are connected, what wires you use, everything, what are the different kind of testing and everything. These girls went berserk. You won't believe they are from the most humblest background in our country. But you won't believe so many people came forward to give them, to donate, I should say, trousers and t-shirts and things like that. They were adorning them for the first time. Can you believe it? And they stepped out of their village for the very first time in their life.
Wow.
So we
Wow.
brought all of them to ISRO, and they saw their satellite being launched in a rocket.
Whoa.
Oh, the
Yeah, I still remember.
emotions.
It was amazing. So
The
amazing.
emotions you must see, Mirel. Oh my God, children crying. Children
Mm-hmm.
crying. And they were the rock stars of that day. The entire media completely surrounding them and asking questions. And their parents were, invited to the chief minister's office, and they were rewarded. Oh my God. This turned out to be such a huge experience for them in life. And
Mm-hmm.
today, all these girls, they are aspiring to be scientists, and they want to do something to the society and to the country at large.
Which
So
is amazing.
that is the
Really.
seed that I was able to sow.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is that people were like, no, nothing can be done, but you went and did something. I mean, you were not sure that this was, but at least there's something. You started something, and now it's just making sure that becomes sustainable with those girls coming in, and hopefully they're going to do the same, and that's how we're going to grow those numbers that we really have to. And that's the very important start. Even if you're not in STEM is everywhere. And that's always what I tell a woman. We're like, oh no, I'm not an engineer, I'm not. No, you are dealing with STEM every day. If you work in the in the health sector, you are doing with STEM. If you cook, you are doing with STEM, because it's chemistry. So don't
If you're
say
brushing, if you're combing
the
your
branch of
hair,
STEM, we are dealing with STEM. So STEM is everywhere, and you can definitely have an impact. So that's really important that we understand. We change this mindset of waiting for people to tell us, oh yeah, you can do this and this, you're good at this. No, take the initiative. If you fail, learn, and get to the next level. That's really the important part. So we're gonna have a break, and we will come back. I can't imagine it's going really fast. We will come back to the last part of the show, but don't go anywhere. We will be back to continue this amazing conversation.
thank you.
This a reminder. This a reminder.
What's up, pop? You do that. I'm built this. We never. No stress, regret, but it's not set. Up to the feminine one. Oh! Up to the feminine one. Oh!
This a reminder.
Words that you say,
This a reminder.
love what they make. She comfortable.
Dark skin, light skin.
So we are back. We are back with Dr. Srimathy Kesan. As you could see, this was She Exists magazine. We will, or I will host the CEO and founder of the She Exists magazine. She is one of the sponsor for this show as well. So it's gonna be an amazing show. We're really looking forward to have She Exists magazine
Oh, that's very
in the
nice. I
house.
mean, I saw the wrapper. It's so beautiful, and the name itself. Oh my God, I think you guys are so creative. Huh? She exists. Yes, we exist.
Exists exactly, and She Exists is also about empowering women. So that's why I'm really excited about it. So just wanted to ask you, I mean, obviously, everything that you've done is really, like you said, it's you, it's your dream. So what is the legacy that you want to leave? What legacy do you want to leave? I think you started the legacy, but there is there more?
Yes. you know uh, every day you wake up saying this is not enough.
Mhm, mhm,
Until
mhm,
your last breath, I think you need to work hard. And I love to work for the girl children, voice for the girl children, and in this industry that I belong to now. So I want to see more space scientists. And from here, we travel to NASA, we travel to GCTC to experience, zero gravity, to experience, satellites making and all these things, in a realistic manner there.
mhm,
So all the simulators and everything. So I always aspire to have a miniature version of NASA here in India. I really
mhm.
want everybody to
Wow.
come to India. I want everybody to come to India. And it's so expensive because I was given the ambassador status to all the three research centers. That's how I started my life in the entrepreneurial journey. But it was exciting then. But once I started to understand that there is so much of money, being transacted, there's so much of money from India going there to US just for this particular experiential study. Why not have it here in India? So that even the last aspirational child of my country will have a possibility to visit this center, experience the simulations, experience zero gravity, be a one day astronaut, feel how it looks like in space. And that will definitely spark an idea, create out of the box thinkers, because that's what we need from the future generation.
Yeah.
So I want to have that here in India. That's my dream center, I would say. And, of course, going to the moon and Mars,
Mhm,
building economical satellites that would take researchers to moon and Mars. That is there, but this is the legacy.
mhm.
The center is the legacy that I wish to leave before I pass away.
Fantastic. This is a big one. This is a big one. And we're gonna stay focused on that because it's definitely, it has to happen. And we have to, whatever is necessary, working with, every single, organization that can actually make it possible. So thank you so much for all this energy and this inspiration that you brought today. How do people connect with you? Because I know there's so much more, and especially if they want to really delve into what you're doing and understand a little bit more space, the opportunity, how it works. Because I understand now that we can also trade now in space. So those are the kind of things for business, business people to understand. Yes, you can do business in space as well. So how do we connect with you?
Miral, before I go into that, I have to tell you that Africa has been very kind to me, and I was able to take children from Nigeria to NASA and give them
Mhm.
the satellite training. And Seychelles, government of Seychelles, was excited and very inspired by our activities, and they invited us, and we taught their children how to
Mhm.
build payload, and we launched the first African balloon, high altitude ballooning in Seychelles.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
we are looking at, holding, we are looking at collaborating with people around, because I think we are all similar people. The Africans and the
Mhm.
Indians have the same
Mhm.
emotions, and, from the grassroots, I think we're all so very common in nature. So we
Mhm.
love to, work with the children there. And to get connected with me, anybody, they can write to me on spacekidsindia@gmail.com. And the kids would be KIDZ. It's not
Mhm.
KIDS. And, you have our website, which is
Mhm.
www.spacekidsindia.in. Most welcome to reach out to me anytime. And I'm glad to share whatever little that I know. Mira, you've been
Fa-
wonderful. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It truly means a lot to me.
No, that was my pleasure because I've learned so much in such, in 50 minutes, learned so much about what you do and started to get excited about the space, the space business because I also involve in, really bringing more women and girl into STEM. I have an organization called STEM Queens. So I
Wow.
might, it might actually be a good opportunity for the STEM Queens to really, start to work, start to understand what are the opportunity with Kids India and see what how we can align things so far. So I'm really excited about what's coming next. So any last message before we close the door today, or you are done? Any last message to the audience? Anything that you really want them to take with them and not forget?
Well, I would say, a woman is a woman, color, caste, creed, nothing matters. And one quote that I always would love to share with everybody is no pain, no gain. So don't brood over your challenges, don't cry. Oh, just wake up, rise up like the phoenix, keep flying from the ashes, and you will attain what you need to attain. You are born for a purpose, and you have to fulfill the purpose before you kick the bucket. So be brave, be bold, keep that beautiful smile on forever.
Fantastic. So I have nothing to add. I hope you've been inspired today. It's been a time of greatness, but it doesn't have to stop now. So it doesn't have to stop now. Connect with Dr. Srimathy Kesan if you want to get involved, if you want to help, if you want to donate. Just connect and also share whatever message that was the message we had today. You can share the video, you can share the message, you can share what you've written down, but just continue to share whatever we talked about here. Doesn't have to stay here, it has to travel because we are looking for an impact. We are looking to make sure people get to the next level of their greatness, and that's going to be the end for us today. Thank you again, doctor, for being with us, and all the best with everything that is happening. Keep breaking records, keep pushing yourself, and keep bringing more women, more girls into that space, because we need them. We need their creativity. We need their leadership, and that's going to be they're going to be imperative for for us to go to the next level as a community, as humanity. So thank you very much. It has been a pleasure, and it's a bye bye. And we'll stay connected anyway. And for my audience, thank you for being with us. And like I said, don't hesitate to connect, and also to share. Bye. Blessing out to you all, and see you next week for another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour Show.
Thank you. Wonderful, Marielle, and wonderful.